Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick video on treat meals and what they are and what they're not specifically. And I'm just going to give you some quick examples because I think some people were just a little bit confused about what a treat meal is or what that entails, and that's completely fine. Treat meal is still kind of a foreign concept to, I think, a lot of people. I know for me, it took a while for me to be able to discern between like what is a treat versus what is, what I should be shooting for most of the time. So real quick, a treat meal is a meal that you wouldn't normally eat every single day if you're trying to lean down. So if leaning down is the goal, which for pretty much everybody in this group it is, which makes it easier for me because then I can just tell you across the board. So a treat meal, a good example would be like going out to eat at a restaurant, because restaurants are going to cook their food with extra butter, oils, they're gonna load it with calories. That's typically what they do at restaurants here in America. So that's why it's great if we can eat at home most of the time. If we can shoot for about 70 to 80% of the time, that's gonna be ideal. It's gonna be perfect because that's gonna lend to sustainability as well. So within this group, I think a general guideline for most people is to shoot for a treat meal once a week. And a treat meal could be burger and fries, could be pizza, could be fast food if you're really craving some fast food. I usually reserve treat meals for Sunday nights, and we try to pick a local spot that we can get takeout from. Takeout is usually going to be a treat meal. And we do Indian food. That's definitely going to be a treat because it's going to be very, very high calorie dishes. Lots of dairy, lots of heavy cream, lots of oil. So we do that once a night, usually every Sunday. You can do it every Saturday if you want to, and then have a cleaner Sunday. Let's see, like tacos, Mexican, but you can make a cleaner version of tacos at home. That's the distinction. It's kind of like going to Chipotle. You can get a lower calorie version of Chipotle. Like last night I had Chipotle, and I'm gonna put a picture in the group, but I literally get light rice, or you can do their new cauliflower rice, which is only 40 calories. I do light rice, black beans, a little bit of salsa, and double chicken, and that's it. Okay, so that's like my cleaner, lower calorie version of Chipotle, and it's really, really good macros. Now, I still wouldn't want to do that every single night because it's takeout, it's at a restaurant. The meat has a lot of sodium in it because it's got preservatives in it because it sits in a bag for a long period of time. So I want to be cooking predominantly most of my meals, and that's what I do. So meal prepping is really important when it comes to that. When you cook chicken, you're not necessarily going to be cooking it in tons of oil and butter like they're going to be doing at a sit-down restaurant. So that's the distinction. We want to make sure we're not eating fast food every single day. If we're trying to get leaner and we're eating fast food every single day, we're just going to crave that food more and more, and it's going to become this vicious cycle. That's why it's good to get away from that type of food for the most part, about 70 to 80% of the time, okay? And it's imperative if you're trying to lean down. If you try to sort of hack the system and eat within your calorie limits, but you're only eating maybe one meal a day or something, and it's just a really heavy meal that you're not making yourself, that you're getting from somewhere, that's kind of setting yourself up for failure because you're going to crave those foods, because that's what they do at restaurants. They make the food so that you want to come back and eat them. So they're gonna cook with extra oil. They're gonna throw a ton of salt on it. They're gonna throw a ton of butter in the pan when they're cooking it. They do that on purpose so that you'll come back. Okay, so when I'm at home, I'm not cooking chicken in a vat of butter and olive oil. I'm not making heavy pasta dishes that have tons of dairy and tons of cream because I'm trying to partition. I'm trying to save my calories and use them wisely over the course of an entire day. That's why you want to shoot for high voluminous foods like fruits and veggies, lean protein sources throughout the day, foods with fiber in them like oatmeal. Protein bars sometimes have a little bit of fiber in them, but they've also got the protein in them. If you're consuming carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates all day, you're going to be starving. Every single time you eat something, you're going to be hungry because you're going to have that insulin spike and then that dip, okay? And that dip is when we get hungry, and that happens anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes after having like processed carbohydrates exclusively. That's why we want to shoot for getting protein in every meal that we have. It doesn't have to be small meals. You can have square meals like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but that's why. And if we're going to Wendy's every single day, like for lunch at work, we're not going to get leaner. It's not going to happen that way, because we're invariably going to be eating over our calorie limit, which means we're going to be in a surplus. But not only that, but we're not getting very nutritious food. We're not getting high volume food. It's very, very low volume food for the amount of calories that are in it. and we're ultimately setting ourselves up for failure. So that's why like shooting for a complete overhaul of our eating is imperative. And we got to find ways to do that tailored to each individual person, because everybody's going to have different constraints and different preferences. But if we're continuing to do what we've always done, where if we're eating out, you know, several times per week, then we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit. So we got to make sure we know the distinction between a treat meal and an actual meal that we want to shoot for 70 to 80% of the time in the week, okay? If you have specific questions about that, I know this is kind of a loaded concept, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll have my phone on me today. I'm training 4 people today, but yeah, hit me up and we'll talk it out. I'll give you some suggestions. All right, see you guys.